Well, hello, y'all. It is time to breathe again on the latest Bofa Sports Shortie. Ugh, terrible there. That was bad. But I am your host, Charles Taylor, and I am here to talk about the happenings or lack thereof from the NBA trade deadline. Nice little wrap up show. So, we did have some people move. We talked about Jaren Jackson Jr. going from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Utah Jazz. The Grizzlies got players and a whole bunch of draft picks. That basically signals the end of that era. Ja Morant is still with the Grizzlies, but I don't know if he's going to be there long. And I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis at this point just let him walk at the end of the season. And then you had the trade with James Harden going from the Clippers to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know what Cleveland is doing there. I don't know what the Clippers are doing either. I guess they're still trying to build around Kawhi Leonard because they traded Subox as well. I don't know what the Clippers are doing. I think a lot of these trades to me, I don't know what's going on. The Dallas Mavericks, they traded Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards. I guess the Wizards are gonna have a team built around Davis and Trae Young, two oft injured guys. I don't know what the Wizards are doing either. Dallas, I guess, is saying we're just gonna go ahead and start this rebuild around Cooper Flag, which is probably the best way to go, but we'll see if Dallas messes it up or not. More likely, yes. But there is one key move that did not happen, and that is involving Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he is staying in Milwaukee with the Bucks, at least for now, for the time being. We'll see what happens in the offseason if the Bucks can somehow start to remake some things and do enough to keep Giannis there. But I will say this in regards to Giannis. He has not said he wanted to leave Milwaukee. At least I haven't heard that. And he has been consistent with wanting to stay in Milwaukee from everything I have seen. He has said multiple times he wants to stay in Milwaukee. He wants to keep a Bucks uniform on. He wants to be got like guys like Kobe Bryant, who played his whole career, of course, with the Lakers. Dirk Nowitzki played his whole career with the Mavericks, and Steph Curry, as it stands right now, and I don't really see this changing, but he has played his whole career with the Golden State Warriors. Giannis wants to be in that mode, and yes, it looks bad with the Bucks. They have a bad head coach in Doc Rivers, a ragtag roster, and they're going to have some sort of a Herculean effort to get into the playoffs this year, even the play-in. And Giannis is still injured right now. But there were a lot of reports that were going around, and I'll name Shams Shanaria of ESPN as one of the main ones who were over here saying, yeah, it's looking good for Giannis to go. And then I had seen something a couple of days before the deadline passed where he said the talks are progressing. What does that mean, progressing? Is there something that's imminent? I can never say that word. I don't want to say intimate, but imminent. There we go. And no one knows what that means. It's almost like he's putting together these reports just to keep the conversation going. There's no substance, there's no merit to them. And that seems to be the whole NBA world when it comes to a lot of these moves, particularly when it considers big name stars. So with Giannis, let's think about this. It is important. Before I get to that, it is important for us as fans and media members and basically humanity to keep everything logical. Let's think about this from a logical standpoint, not a fantasy basketball standpoint, a logical standpoint. So the teams Giannis was supposedly being floated to go to, the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, amongst others. And y'all heard us talk about the craziness that had him going to Cleveland in a supposed super team, joining James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and LeBron James, which that it makes absolutely no sense to me. That's a bad team altogether. But we have to be logical about these moves. So let's say Giannis was going to go to the New York Knicks. First of all, who do the Knicks have to give the Bucks? Or are they going to package together Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges or Josh Hart, some combination of that, and then you just have Giannis and Jalen Brunson on the court, and you gut your depth more than it's already been gutted? Why would you do that if you're the Knicks? And then on top of that, the Knicks have no draft choices because they traded all their draft choices away. So why would Milwaukee want to do that? Because if Milwaukee is going to trade Giannis, you know that's going to take a haul to get. Miami, who are they going to trade? Tyler Hero and some other dudes? And then you just have basically Giannis and Bam Adebayo on the court. Again, no depth there. The Warriors, what are they going to trade? I guess they could have traded Jonathan Kuminga and Pods and maybe Draymond Green. But even still, you have Giannis and Steph Curry and a bunch of dudes. They are older players. They would get ran off the court by teams like the OKC Thunder, the Denver Nuggets when they're whole, even the San Antonio Spurs. Why would you want to do that? That makes no sense to me. And then the Timberwolves, the same thing. Who are you trading there to get Giannis? It's probably going to have to be some combination of Naz Reid, maybe Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels is gone too, and you just have Giannis and Anthony Edwards. Again, you don't have depth there. This is a team sport. Remember that. This is still a team sport where you have 5 players and you have to play both offense and defense because those are equal parts of the game. It's something that is unique from other sports where you basically, literally spend half of your time on offense, half of your time on defense. All I'm saying is, before we get into this crazy fantasy basketball world, which I had said on Tuesday, everybody is a part of in that world, let's be logical about these deals. And before we want to assume moving Giannis to this team is going to bring a title, what exactly is happening? What exactly is going to be the outcome when you make these trades? Because these teams are going to have to gut their roster to get them there. And now Giannis has injury concerns because he's been dealing with the calf strain for pretty much the whole season. So all that is to say, let's be logical and understand. Giannis has never said he wants to leave Milwaukee. Everything that he has said says he wants to stay there. But yes, he wants to play for a winner. So that means Milwaukee has to be very diligent this offseason and understand what they can do to reshape this roster, because right now it is in tatters, and it could be harder for Giannis to want to stay there if the team is not ready to compete for a championship. But other than that, stay logical. These reports have been garbage. They've been garbage. And you can think on your own and not look at these reports as the gospel. Until something does actually happen, then I guess Doc Rivers can get up on a press conference and say Shams needs to be traded. I actually thought that was pretty funny. Well, that will conclude this edition of the Both of Sports Shouties. And that is what we are breathing on for this evening or this afternoon. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Both of Sports YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Both of Sports Facebook page. Until next time, everybody take care, enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will talk to you next week. Y'all take care, and have a great weekend.